Hello again, everyone. Edwin Lerner back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about Jupiter's sextile or trine Chiron in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in a natal chart. They were a little bit concise. Some people may have referred to them as snappy, so what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is, well, if you have Jupiter's sextile or trine Chiron in your natal chart, you may easily find that exuberance and enthusiasm, which is Jupiter, and helping and healing others, which is Chiron. Now, let's say, for example, if you have Chiron in Aries, you may help and heal others in matters with, identity and, maybe finding one's place in the world. It could be matters with being aggressive, assertive, taking action in matters, with little hesitation or procrastination. Maybe there was some wounds, associated with, confrontations, whether it was, verbal or physical, as some examples. Now, also, these aspects can indicate, prosperity, luck and fortune, which is Jupiter in those matters that I just mentioned, as far as helping and healing others. Now, let's say, for example, if Chiron is in Aquarius, if you have one of these aspects, it could be prosperous, doing things, helping and healing others through astrology or through selfless, altruistic, type work, or maybe something associated with computer or electronic, repair, as some examples. And also, too, these aspects, can be fortunate. Jupiter is the fortunate planet in dealing with emotional and physical related suffering, which is Chiron. In terms of, like whatever you're dealing with, Chiron is in Taurus as an example. There may be, emotional suffering connected with self-worth, how one feels about oneself. If there's physical related suffering, maybe tied in with the throat, the neck, the thyroid, esophagus. And if you have, Jupiter's sextile or trine Chiron, it could be more fortuitous in terms of healing, those issues. Now, also, too, in-laws and foreigners, which is Jupiter, can be, beneficial and advantageous in those matters in terms of, the physical, if you're dealing with any physical or emotional related suffering. Now, let's say, Jupiter is in zodiac sign Cancer, as an example. One or more in-laws or foreigner may actually be a Cancer sun, moon, or ascendant person, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be, those that are sympathetic, nurturing, caring, protective, dedicated, devoted, tenacious, but yet can also be very emotional, sensitive, moody, and temperamental as well. Now, another thing about these aspects is that, those Jupiter-related people in general may be advantageous in you dealing with the deepest wound, which is Chiron. Jupiter-related people can cover a number of persons. It could be, those again that are in-laws, foreigners, those that are involved in sports, religion, philosophy, higher education, publishing, advertising, doing something with a printing press operation, as some examples, or even the law. Now, and the thing about this is, if you're the deepest wound, let's say, if Chiron is in Gemini, as an example, deepest wound may be tied in, with ones that could be some cerebral or intellectual ability, maybe something tied in with communication skills, or maybe one had gone through some strong suffering that was connected with having something they did that was plagiarized or forged or copied somehow, It could be, something, even, Gemini also has a connection with siblings, cousins, neighbors as well, so I think that would apply. Now, another thing, too, is that another way these aspects may manifest in a natal chart is that, healers, which is Chiron, may be helpful if there are any issues related to religion, philosophy, publishing, higher education, or the law, which is Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is in Aquarius as an example. There may be, issues, you've had to deal with, legal issues tied in. Maybe you were a victim of some cyber crime, computer-related crime as an example. It can be, or there was some, electronic or something related to electronics somehow. It can also be, another way these aspects may be expressed in the natal chart is that you may be optimistic, which is Jupiter, without being overconfident or over-optimistic in dealing again with that deepest wound, which is Chiron. Now, let's say if Chiron is in Libra as an example, that deepest wound, may be tied in. It may be something simply with relationships or a legal issue. Maybe it has something to do with finding the balance, the equilibrium, the harmony, the peace, in one's life, having refinement, having things, the beautiful things in life, and maybe it has something to do with attractiveness. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the person is not attractive, but what it could mean is that based on one's own perception of the self. But anyway, another thing about Jupiter sextile or trine Chiron in a natal chart is that you may have, that right amount of exuberance, which is Jupiter, associated. It could be with astrology or simply helping and healing others, which is Chiron. Now, if let's say if you have Chiron in Virgo as an example, you may help and heal others in matters with health or hygiene, being being more detail oriented, being punctilious with details. It could be, being more scrupulous with things, more proper. As far as astrology goes, it could be very, analytical, way as far as being more analytical and detail oriented, with astrology. Or you can, that might be, you might be somebody, if if you have an interest in astrology, again, if Chiron is in Virgo, it may be done, with acute attention to detail in a very analytical manner. Now, another thing about these aspects is that you may find it easy to teach and mentor others, which is Chiron, in subjects associated with sports, publishing, advertising, religion, and the law, which is Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is in Taurus as an example. This may be done very methodical, deliberate, plotting manner, with a lot of persistence as well, very calm manner. And also, too, if you have one of these aspects in a natal chart, is that, it could be, those same, Jupiter-related, subjects, matters, whether it be sports, the outdoors, higher education, religion, which is Jupiter, may be beneficial to issues associated with depleted self-esteem, which is Chiron. Let's say if Jupiter is in Gemini as an example, there may be an interest in the quick reaction sports such as badminton, table tennis, racquetball as some examples. And keep in mind too, if you have Chiron retrograde in the natal chart, the suffering, emotional, physical related suffering may be more internalized and suppressed. There may be more of an emphasis on self-healing. So let's say if Chiron is in the zodiac sign Cancer, as an example, the self-healing may be tied in, with home, family-related matters, expressing care, maybe unconditional love, matters pertaining to safety and security, as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin